Welcome to the 20th BOH Cameronian Arts Awards on set. My name is Miriam, and joining us today are the nominees for Best Performance in a Leading Role for Musical Theatre. On my far right is Fimie, representing Teater Muzikal Sudirmania, Sher Maine from The Working Dead, and Ronnie as well from The Working Dead, Elaine from Dreams, the musical, and Kevin from Life Is. So thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Happy
Awesome.
to be here.
Yes. and let me start by saying congratulations once again
Oh,
for your nomination.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start. Thank you, Kevin. So let's start with, I think, a question for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of you, not all of us. Leading actors embody truth. Truth in various forms. How do you define truth in a theatrical performance?
Wow. How do you define truth? Okay, so Assalamualaikum. Salam sejahtera.
Ui.
Bermulanya saya di sini. Okay, so the first thing I was taught by my cikgu, itu Khairul Nazan Rozi, dia kata adalah sebagai pelakon teater, yang benda pertama yang kita kena lulus bukanlah hafal skrip, bukan ingat blocking, bukan sedar diri, sedar ruang, sedar watak, tidak. Tetapi yang utamanya adalah jujur, kejujuran, kan? Maka bila kejujuran itu, the honesty is revealed, and then truth itu akan terhasil, you know. So how do I define it? Again, we can never find the answer. Sebab for me, I'm going to ask you guys a question, okay? So, so you guys see, we can never lie to ourselves. Do you agree? Do you agree?
To a certain extent.
No, you can never lie to yourself, right? Okay, contoh. Okay, let's discuss. Can I do this? Can I do that? Okay, let's do it. So there's two ways for you to lie, which is lie to yourself or the truth about yourself or the character that you're bringing, right? Okay. Jadi kalau katakan I am telling the truth to the audience, and if the audience accept it as a lie, then it's the audience perspective. I still know that it is the truth, right? Even if I'm trying to convince myself that the lie is the truth. Contoh, katakan membunuh baik ke jahat? Honestly. Answer the question. Membunuh seseorang baik ke jahat?
Wrong.
Wrong, right? Tetapi as an actor, you need to believe so why the character does that.
Yes.
Right? And you
Yes.
need to accept otak character ni baik. I know why the character does so. Right? But you cannot lie to yourself, right? So, sejauh manakah penipuan itu kita boleh bawa sebagai seorang manusia dan seorang pelakon? So, my perspective of how do I define truth is jujurlah kepada diri sendiri. So, if it's bad, it's bad. But you need to always remember that you are a character, a human that bringing someone else's character. So, if you know that, and then I do accept that as the truth, and that's how I define the truth. Jujur kepada diri sendiri dan kepada watak. Kita tak perlu jujur kepada audience. Sebab macam mana jujur pun, if orang kata itu that's a lie, then that's a lie. You cannot convince anyone to be in your shoes and to be in your perspective. That's how I defined it.
Nice. Honesty to yourself first.
Right.
And then translating that to the character.
I think it's also truth to the story, right? Like when you present your character, you are telling the truth in your perspective or in your character's perspective. What is the truth, right? True to the story lah.
True to the story, yeah.
So I think throughout my journey also, like people that have taught me in the past and all that, they will say like stick to the story, and that's where you find the answer, right? Like when you're nervous and all that, you think about, shit lah, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? Sorry, I said shit.
That's okay.
The first one. She made one.
Editor's just going happy, like Chris is my rate.
But yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
Kind of like true to the story, right?
True.
And then once you find the truth in what you want to say about the story, what you want to tell in the storytelling process, and then that's where the truth comes from.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Any thoughts on this one?
To me, because I'm playing my own, based on my own story, so I'm not playing other people's, like put my shoes in other people's story or character. So to me, it's being true to myself that I'm playing myself. So conveying what I experience, my journeys. So that's my definition of truth. That comes from my heart.
And it's the truth that you already know.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
Yeah,
right.
there's no seeking involved because it's already based on your experience.
Correct. Yeah,
Understand?
that's my point of view.
I'd like to circle back to that question a little bit more. Like, you're just finding a balance between playing yourself, essentially, on stage. We'll come back to that. But I wanted to maybe extend what you shared earlier. How do you approach that difference?
Interesting.
Yeah. For example, you know killing is bad,
It's bad. Yeah.
but you know why your character has done it, whether you agree it or not.
Yeah.
So how do you portray that truth?
Right. So I do feel like combining whatever me and she said just now, which is stay true to the story and stay true to yourself. So being in yourself is where I think everyone are aware of this. Sedar diri, sedar ruang, sedar watak. Right? So once
Awareness.
you are awareness of that, and then you remember, you know, as a human being, it's not good to kill and it's not good to do bad things.
Yeah.
But you're just taking the job as just to tell people what's good or bad. So that is where stay true to the script is for you to carry that story.
Yeah.
So kalau kita tak percaya akan cerita itu, macam mana orang nak percaya akan
Yeah.
So macam mana, however I am I am true to myself, again my responsibility is to give whatever the director wants.
Yeah.
Right? The first point of view, the first mata yang memandang kita sebelum dipentaskan. So kalau pengarah tak percaya, tak boleh lah.
Yeah,
So
agree.
tanggungjawab aku adalah untuk percaya aku adalah orang baik. Aku bukan seorang pembunuh. Tetapi pengarah nak aku membawa dan bagi orang percaya yang watak ini membunuh kerana ada sebab.
Yeah.
So percaya akan skrip.
It's actually very interesting with what you guys have added on because for myself, as a starting point, I've always been the type of person who sort of have one foot each in reality and fantasy. This is what allows me to, because the balance, they are talking about the balance whereby you get the truth from the story and then from myself. For me, that balance is what's anchoring me. Yeah, so then that awareness allows me to believe in truths that I need to believe because I have one foot in reality. I know it's wrong.
Yeah.
But because of this character and what he wants, this is what I'm required to believe. But there's no problem because I'm aware of the fact that that's not real. But the goal is to sell it. that this is what I believe in. This is my truth. Because like as he said, if you were to take it from off the stage, like when we're having conversations with people in daily life, you can tell when someone's not being sincere, right? You're completely not buying it. So the inverse is the truth. I would know if I'm not convincing. And that's sort of like an alarm when it goes, okay, this is not right. I feel like I'm not being truthful. So that's sort of like a gauge that I use for myself to sort of find that balance in between. Yeah.
It's a very fine line.
It's very
fine.
fine. But when you find that balance, like what they've mentioned, like for Sher Maine from the story and for him being true to himself, you know, when you get that center point, that's it. As you'll be able to tell like, you yourself, I think you guys can sort of attest to this,
I'm on the right lane, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
okay,
macam betul lah.
that was not convincing. I'm not convinced by myself. Why am I expecting people to believe me?
True. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I also think that I think someone once told me if you are taking on a character, you shouldn't be judging that character in the beginning, right? Like this character is probably like a villain in the character, but the thing is that no villain think that they're the villain.
They're the heroes.
Right? Like you look at the
point of view
Joker,
of why
their
they do
point of
that.
view is like, but I'm helping you ma, like Thanos is like,
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. True.
I'm helping y'all, you know?
You don't see it.
Yeah, just wake up.
Yeah.
But I think that's also like understanding your character's motivation
Yeah.
that drives you lah. So it's because when you're on stage, you're not like yourself ma. You
Yep.
have
That is where you stay true to the script, right? To the play.
yeah, like
Believing the villain's mission.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go deeper into this idea. I'm coming to let's go deeper into this idea of truth and embodying what the character needs or what the script needs. So Kevin in life is the piece delves into self-discovery and acceptance. How did you approach those themes?
I really like how the questions rephrase the word and use the word self-discovery. Because do we have censorship in this distributing channel? Because the part of self-discovery, to be frank, is it was HIV. Are we allowed to say HIV?
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, acceptance comes from that as well.
Yeah.
And but coming back to the first questions of how we come into agreement to be true to ourselves and to our characters, I draw the line between justifying and understanding. Like what the character does, some of it may go against my own moral preferences in real life. But in order to bring the act onto the stage, I have to bring myself to understand what the characters was thinking. But as I'm doing that, it doesn't mean that I'm convincing myself to justify the act as a person. For example, in the act, there was a point where my character wanted to transition from a monogamic relationship to a polygamic relationship, an open relationship, basically, if you all know what that means. But the feedback that I gotten was that during the early stage of preparing for the musical was that it was just not convincing. And to echo what Sher Maine said, I even got feedbacks saying that they could see that I was judging what the character was doing. So, and it brought a lot of clarity to me how the judgment is on the audience. That's what the audience does. It's not on us. So what we do is we just bring out what the character does according to the script. And coming back to self-discovery and acceptance, I think it took me a lot of time to actually try to understand the characters, especially this is a group of people that actually exist. It's not fictional, so there's a level of sensitivity in there. And the last thing that I would want to do is to offend them or to be insensitive in any ways. And what I want to do was just bring out the part, to bring out their role in the society, how they were represented in the community, and what truth was there and behind what they were going through, and just to be able to do that in justice. And and the first thing that I had to get rid of was judgment, definitely the judgmental mindset, and be able to understand them. And the conclusion that I came in was to be able to draw a line between justification and understanding.
How was, just hearing you talk about it, there's a lot of weight in what you played and what you brought on stage. And that journey from being someone who was one way with the character and the topic to what it was at the end of the journey. What was your research process like?
I had to look it up. I had lots of conversations with the producers, with the writers, and they introduced me to some real life stories concerning this group of people and what they had to win and what they had to go through back in the days and how it's like now. And so at first I was really, I was really lost, and I had to rely on the producers and writers to knock a lot of sense into me, to be honest. But I think it was after the first show when we actually had real audience coming to see us, and after the show, as we were mingling around with the audiences, we actually had real HIV patients coming up to us and say, "Thank you for portraying our lives. Thank you for showing what we're going through." And that's what really mind-blowing to me. And up until the point of the first show, I wasn't even sure if I was doing it right. But I guess that feedback from them that really solidified what I was trying to do. And I think that was one of the most rewarding part of doing musical theater for the first time.
Thank you. It's both brave and courageous to play characters, inspired by non-fictional things. It's very real things that are going through. So thank you for bringing that on. We'll just come back. We'll keep going on with this, train of thought here. Elaine, you in Dreams the musical, you were both writer and lead.
Oh yeah.
And
I
as
play
you,
a lot of roles.
Yeah.
in this musical.
and you said earlier that it's based off you. So how is it like balancing it? How was the writing process? Did you have a mirror in front of you, and did it help you think?
I had this idea back like 3 years ago because it's my real story. I really pursue my dreams to New York to pursue my musical theater, dream, Broadway dream.
Yeah.
So I was like, why not I do a musical, and also because I'm coming out my own album. So the first idea was an album, my own music album. Then I was thinking like, how do I, promote it to let people know more about it? And then I was like, okay, I should tell my own story. And then it's about a girl who be very, very brave and courage to work hard and then pursue her dreams and never give up, all this. So I was like, why not I bring this up to, encourage more people to follow their dreams and never give up. So I was like, okay, I need to start writing. Okay, where should I start? Okay, from myself, of course. So I write. I have the idea, but I need a script writer, a proper script writer to help me on this. And as I'm not expert in this. So I started from there, and how do I proceed with it is it's from the songs actually. From the songs, and then I develop it to the stories, and then that's where it happened. So while I'm playing the lead myself, is there any different? No, I would say I would say because and then this is also my first time that I produce my own musical, and because from the past 10 years I was like playing in other productions, playing other people's character and roles. So this is my first time playing myself. So it's very interesting, and I think I feel very comfortable with it.
Yeah. Was there anything challenging about? Because you're not just putting yourself out there, you're actually putting yourself out there. It's your story.
Never think too much. I just dive in. And I just focus on what I need to do and what I need to bring out and convey the message and portray this character to bring out the message what I mentioned just now. Then the challenge, it's more on the besides the creativity parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the production.
The production, yes.
Okay, yes.
But it's a very good experience, and I love it.
I'd like to now, take the question a little bit different for Sher Maine and for Ronnie with The Working Dead. Almost said Walking Dead, but we didn't go there. Okay.
Walking Dead. Okay, that was us.
All right. So yes, you being zombied inside the show, there's a lot of work burnout and this, corporate culture that you have to portray. But it was also very comedic in a way. So how did you balance that out?
I think you should take this.
Okay.
Definitely.
We're coming back to you, man.
Ken.
How?
Because for me, the reason why I push it to her is because her character Joanne.
Yeah.
She's not to say that the reason she's there is for those elements, but she did it so well because it was in her material. So Edwin was more the character Edwin, which is my character in The Working Dead. He's more of the emotional anchor of the story.
Yeah.
So he goes with the flow because there's a flow that's already set by the brilliant script. Yeah. So there will be moments where it's comedic, there will be moments where it's intense again. Yeah. So my character was just following the ride, and she's the captain, I think. Because most of the stuff is...
It's like he's the structure, right?
Yes.
He's the framework. It's like, this is how the company works. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you sure? So I guess that's where we play that contrast. I think we feed off each other a lot. Because for my character, when we talked about the script, we were like, I'm your best friend, right? Like I asked him, like, I'm your best friend, right? In the company. He's like, yeah. I'm like, then why don't you go out with me? He's like, I cannot, I need to work.
Okay.
And that was us in the discussion as our characters. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this to me? And that's exactly what JOANNE does to Edwin.
Mm.
She's always like, hey, you know,
Like,
you
you're
should
gone,
know
right?
what-" Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
Edwin gets carried by her energy.
Yeah.
So you should describe how you went about the comedic elements.
Was it natural
That's
for
just
you
me. Yeah.
to play? That's good. Yeah. But just you.
Was it natural? I feel okay. So
Yes.
for a little bit, if I'm being honest,
Okay.
I think this was a very new experience for me because I've never done a show that is an original character, right? Although like this is a restage, right? So we
Yes.
have a sample of how it was done previously. But I tried so hard to like not watch the video until I really have
Same.
to.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was just going through the script and I thought, this is what JOANNE is in my head, you know? Like she's this fun, rebellious girl. Which is actually not that hard to play because it is with the script, you know? And like with the other cast, I think they made the whole experience really fun when we tried to build the scene up together. However, the only challenge that I had was how crazy and fun she can be, but what does she stand for?
Yes.
Right?
Grounding the character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who is she really? Like is she
Yeah.
we had this discussion.
Discussion, yeah.
We were like, JOANNE's always like la la la. Does she really care about her job?
Mm.
Like she sucks at her job. Does she really suck at her job? Or like, you know?
Yeah.
But then I realized this girl, she wants to have fun. And I think her stakes compared to the other characters, in terms of like responsibility to their life and all that, she doesn't really have that. But fundamentally, I was driven by more of like, she's very true to herself. And so she sees the truth, brings out the truth in
Yeah.
the friends
Yeah.
Yes, and the office mates.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You spoke a little bit about Edwin being, the structure. Yeah. How was it like for you to play Edwin? Was it challenging? Did you just flow into it?
Well, okay, where do I begin?
Yeah.
No, because
Sorry, begin.
here's the thing. Okay, when I first, I was aware of The Working Dead because I worked with co-productions before.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to see it when it was staging. So I only know bits and pieces about it, which is good for a starting point for an actor who's coming
Yes.
in the baton performing, So
Yeah.
when I read the script, he's the type of character who you just look at it and you're like, it's so simple. You could go like, what a fool.
Yeah.
I would have said something else, but they would have beat me. So, So then immediately from that onwards, I identified that we're both very different people, and that's a good place to work with. You know what I mean? Because I grew up. I don't know about you guys, but let's open this topic as well. But I grew up in an era where working till you drop was romanticized.
Yeah.
To the point
Right.
where people who are burnt out from working deserves rewards.
Yeah.
So I grew up around that, and of course, me going like, no, so it's easier said than done. I know circumstances differ. I'm a freelance entertainer performer,
Yeah.
so I'm my own boss. I get to decide when I take a break and stuff like that. But self-care is applicable for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So already you could see, no. And going back to the topic of the truth and everything, right? But because of the balance that I had no problems believing that that's what I believe in. In fact, that's what I'm supposed to be selling to the people. So the challenge was the why. Because it's easy for people to look at him and be like, oh, just another loser working hard, thinking that he's going to be successful until he dies, which he really does die. Yeah, exactly. So then the why was also in the script. So the job was to present that and to convince people to change their mindset from, oh my God, another idiot, to, man, I feel bad for him. I wish things turned out differently. I get what he was going for, but man, because he's a tragic character.
Yeah.
So I find it very challenging to build that connection with the audience, because the first few scenes that I appeared, I had to make sure that I had to sell Edwin's story, because what happened to Edwin and the decisions that he makes that leads to this particular ending starts the whole story.
Yep.
So how would I expect audience members to not have a hard time following the story if they weren't convinced by Edwin's actions? Yeah, so that was more of the challenge for me. Like, how do I sell this? Oh my goodness. So yeah.
I think for both of us, right, how I step in with the comedic elements, because now we're so lucky we're in this generation of Gen Zs where like, I don't do the 9 to 5. Or like, 9
So
to 5, and it's like, if it's 5:01, I'm not answering your call, boss.
Yes.
So that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So that's why in the show, JOANNE looks like she's so lazy because her boss is like this uncle. Sorry, call him. He's his boss lah, okay. And he's an old uncle boss. So he's like, no, you need to work hard. You're lazy. You're not, like why you never show up in work on time.
Yeah.
But she's just like, no, I'm just here because you pay me for this 9 to 5, right? I'm here at 9 lah. That's where the difference is at, you know. And when we talk about it, that's why she's a bit different now.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's also the truth lah. I think
And
at
she
this point.
sticks out because it's an obvious juxtaposition. You see, like for instance, Edwin, who's obviously on the opposite side, and then there's JOANNE, like, you're really working. You know what I mean? Yeah, and to answer the question about the comedic elements just now, the reason why Edwin had those moments is because of her. Because of JOANNE's character, you see like lighthearted aspects to him, because when it's about his work, it's always all this pressure, and then when it comes to his wife at home, they're always intense because they're fighting. So I think for me, for my character, it was because of JOANNE as well. Like we play off of each other. We're burnt out office people, but we had a whole number where we were dancing and singing to her song.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what?
It's like I sing the whole song to convince you to curi tulang, but you still don't want to do it.
I entertained it.
Okay.
I entertained it.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's like, okay, so Edwin does actually, layan her, her stuff. But then at the same time, no, not really. He's still sticking to his stuff.
Yeah, because it's built in him
Yes.
to do what he needs to do.
Exactly.
Fundamentally,
Yeah.
him as a person, or you know.
And we all need a JOANNE in our office spaces.
You need a JOANNE in your life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Honestly.
well, thank you so much. This has been such a fun conversation, and we have to come to an end. But it's been very encouraging to see how you all embody your characters and fundamentally how you bring truth to the stage. So congratulations once again.
Thank you
on
very
your
much.
nominations, and can't wait to see more from you all.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.